This video is sponsored by Cometeer. To join the future of coffee, all you have to do is go to cometeer.com/companyman. You'll get a free curated 8-pack of their most popular roasts. Trust me, they are delicious, and a travel mug. The link is in the description. Chicken wings have exploded in popularity. Consider that a few decades ago, there were hardly any restaurants selling them, and now apparently 1.4 to 1.5 billion chicken wings are being consumed during Super Bowl weekend each year, which I find incredible, considering that is more than 4 times the total US population. Today, you can order them from so many different restaurants: Applebee's, Pizza Hut, TGI Fridays, among many others, but the two biggest chains that specialize in making chicken wings, to a point where it is in their name, would be Wingstop and Buffalo Wild Wings, both helping contribute to the food's growing popularity over the years, and arguably the two that have benefited from it the most. For today's video, I think it would make perfect sense to make some comparisons between these two companies, and what I believe to be 7 meaningful categories. But before I start, I do want to mention that I have already made a video about Buffalo Wild Wings, so to avoid overlap, this video will be focusing much more on the Wingstop side of things. Alright, my first category of comparison is their overall success. Now, obviously, in the big picture, they are both incredibly successful, considering they have grown into national restaurant chains, but the road has been a little less bumpy for Wingstop. Buffalo Wild Wings has seen 2 notable declines throughout the years that I have detailed in that previous video, but for Wingstop, things have been fairly smooth. By the way, if you're a journalist and you want to make a pun in your headline about how Wingstop is soaring, I promise you, it has been done. But that is a good sign for the company, right? It has been a great investment over the years. If you had bought stock from their IPO in 2015, you would have 10 times more money today. By multiple measures, they have more than doubled in size from that point, quickly approaching 2,000 restaurants, and domestic same-store sales have been increasing every year. All great signs, considering it's difficult to open so many new locations while maintaining or even raising sales at the existing ones. Now, in 2017, Buffalo Wild Wings was acquired for over $2 billion by Roark Capital, the company behind Arby's that has since combined it with other chains. That right there turned them into a private company that does not file reports with the SEC, but from what I can tell, they have been pretty stagnant from that point, allowing Wingstop to surpass them in number of locations seemingly around 2018. And it's looking like that gap is only going to get bigger. Wingstop says that their vision is to become a top 10 global restaurant brand. They think that there is opportunity for them to eventually grow to 7,000 restaurants, most of which would be in the United States. That is an ambitious goal that makes me want to keep an eye on them, because if everything goes according to plan, we're going to have Wingstops all over the place. I also want to compare the format of the two restaurants, because this may actually be the single greatest difference between them. Buffalo Wild Wings is effectively a sports bar that puts in the effort to provide entertainment and create an atmosphere. You go in, sit down, order from the menu, drink beer, watch the game on TV. Their slogan is Wings, Beer, Sports, whereas Wingstop is much more modeled for carryout and delivery, not the kind of place you want to spend much time, so people are usually in and out of there. In short, Buffalo Wild Wings is designed for people to hang out and eat chicken wings, whereas Wingstop is designed for people to get their chicken wings and eat them at home. Likely a big reason they saw such an increase in same-store sales during 2020 with the pandemic, and I think you get it, but this is where things get tricky. A Buffalo Wild Wings building averages over 6,000 square feet, and a Wingstop building averages below 2,000. It's less than a third of the size, so even though there are more Wingstop locations, Buffalo Wild Wings still has more total square footage and higher system-wide sales. However, there have been efforts to cross over into each other's formats. In 2011, Wingstop opened a restaurant in Texas labeled a Wingstop Sports. It was bigger, served alcohol, had televisions, not unlike a Buffalo Wild Wings. But I would say that the bigger effort was in 2020 going the other way, when Buffalo Wild Wings opened their first BWW Go. It was smaller, intended for pickup, much more like a Wingstop. Even before the pandemic in 2017, the CEO of Buffalo Wild Wings theorized that a big part of their trouble stemmed from the fact that so many more people were choosing to eat at home, so BWW Go, along with some other efforts, have been their way to respond to that. Honestly, it seems like Wingstop has the better format for today's consumer, and to many people, that has given them more promise moving forward. Another similar similarity that I really thought was interesting concerns the founders. You probably wouldn't expect to hear that both of these restaurants were founded by a person that, in my opinion, was not all that passionate about chicken wings. See, in both cases, the founder predicted the market for chicken wings and saw it as a smart business move, but didn't really want to dedicate their life to it. Buffalo Wild Wings was founded by Jim Disbrow, who would have probably told you himself that his true passion was ice skating. Before ever even starting the restaurant, he was an alternate for the US Olympic team, toured with Holiday on Ice, and even after starting it, remained involved with skating. In fact, having his attention split and not focusing enough on the restaurant is likely a big reason behind their troubles in the 1990s, and things started going much better for them after he was replaced by a new CEO. Now, Wingstop was started by Antonio Swad, who had started in the restaurant business as a dishwasher at a Ponderosa steakhouse when he was 15 years old. He worked his way up with that company in various positions before being promoted to general manager of that original location. An inspirational story already, but it continues. In 1986, he started his own restaurant, initially called Pizza Pizza, but there were trademark issues, and he took notice of the high concentration of Hispanic people in the area. It motivated him to make some adjustments to better serve that community. He changed the name to Pizza Patron, hired cashiers that spoke both English and Spanish, printed up menus in both languages, and by 1994, he had opened 3 additional locations. Much like Jim Disbrow, he felt the demand for chicken wings was way higher than the supply, so he started giving out samples of them over at Pizza Patron to test the customer's reaction, and it was positive enough for him to have the confidence to open a restaurant called Wingstop that was centered around them. At that time, Buffalo Wild Wings was still mostly unknown, and the only way you would really see chicken wings at a restaurant was as an appetizer or a side, but never as the main course. That right there is what made Wingstop unique. All they sold was made-to-order wings and fries, so the wings were at the center and the fries were on the side. By 2003, when it had grown to almost 100 locations, Antonio Swad sold the company so he can place his full attention back onto his original creation, Pizza Patron. And then that grew into a popular chain of about 100 locations, helped by their slogan, Mas Pizza, Menos Dinero, and their controversial Pizza for Pesos program, where they started accepting Mexican pesos in their restaurants. I do want to mention that Antonio Swad has since left Pizza Patron as well and started another restaurant concept called Porch Swing that makes traditional Southern food. I'm just saying, this guy has already started 2 successful chains, so I don't know, maybe keep a lookout for the third one. Alright, my comparisons are going to start getting much quicker. I think it's relevant to briefly talk about the area in which these companies started. Jim Disbrow lived in Buffalo, New York, and would frequent the bar where buffalo wings are believed to have been invented. While he happened to be in Ohio, he noticed how difficult it was to find any of the buffalo wings that he liked from back in New York, so that's where he saw his opportunity. He opened the first Buffalo Wild Wings near Ohio State University, and the business took off from there. Now, Antonio Swad actually started in Ohio. That's where he started working at that steakhouse when he was 15, but his career later took him to Texas, and that is where he started Pizza Patron and Wingstop. It was actually that Dallas connection that led to Troy Aikman, former quarterback for the Cowboys, becoming their spokesperson. Back in 2003, he agreed to promote them because they happened to have a restaurant across from his training facility early on that he would visit, and he became strongly associated with the brand, even joining the board of directors in 2011 before selling his shares for millions of dollars when they became a public company in 2015. I don't know, I just think it's interesting how one of them went to Ohio to start things while the other one left Ohio to do it. I also think it's interesting that today, Texas is the biggest market for both of these restaurants. Another comparison would be their flavors. Clearly, chicken wings are all about the flavors no matter where you go to get them, including Buffalo Wild Wings, but it has been such a huge point of emphasis for Wingstop. They started by offering 8 flavors, but have since famously advertised 11 of them, the hottest of which is called Atomic, that is comparable to the blazing sauce over at Buffalo Wild Wings. Wingstop goes as far as to say that they are not in the wing business, they are in the flavor business. They also say that their mission is to serve the world with flavor. In 2019, they introduced their new slogan, where flavor gets its wings. Kind of clever, but you have to think about it for a second. And in 2022, when they launched their line of chicken sandwiches, the big thing that separated them from the ones offered by the other restaurants was the fact that they were available in 12 different flavors. My next comparison involves franchising, which is pretty much when other people own and operate their own locations while paying the central company for the rights to do it. For Buffalo Wild Wings, it appears that about half of their locations are franchised, whereas for Wingstop, it is 98%. That is how they've been expanding so fast. The company only owns 43 of those almost 2,000 locations. Even rapper Rick Ross is a franchisee of theirs, operating about 30 of them in the Southeast. From the very beginning, Wingstop was created as a simple concept that would be easy to franchise. I'm talking about small buildings, few employees, a limited menu that is much more limited than Buffalo Wild Wings. I mean, they are the wing experts, according to the logo. They didn't even introduce a new menu item until 2006, when they finally started offering boneless wings, and obviously there have been others since, but still fairly limited. It all makes them more attractive to potential franchisees, because it requires a smaller initial investment to get involved. They have been selective when choosing new ones. Once they are chosen, they're forced to complete a 4-week training program. It has helped keep the restaurants clean, friendly, and reliable. Each Wingstop is fairly similar to the others, and that's the goal. The customers want to know what they're going to get. For my final comparison, it's brief. I just want to take a quick look at the owners, specifically the private equity firm Roark Capital. I said in the beginning that they acquired Buffalo Wild Wings in 2017, but I should also draw attention to the fact that they acquired Wingstop in 2010 before putting them on the stock market as a publicly owned company in 2015. I think that's interesting in the way that they have shared the same owner, but at different times, and the fact that they have both switched between public and private ownership, but sort of at opposite times. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of all these comparisons? Were there any that you were shocked to hear? And are these two companies more similar or more different than you perceived them when you went into this video? Also, I have to ask, which one of them makes the better wings? That's the big question, so I want to hear a detailed analysis about what you think about that, and any other thoughts you have about Buffalo Wild Wings or Wingstop, leave them in the comments. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Cometeer is today's sponsor, and I have to say, at first, I was skeptical about how it would taste. It is a flash frozen coffee, so it is easy to make. Not to brag here, but I can do it right when I wake up, when I'm still half asleep. I drop the puck of frozen coffee into the cup and add hot water. It doesn't need any gadgets or cleanup, there's no grounds to worry about, and the capsules are 100% recyclable, which I really appreciate. In my experience, it is the simplest way to make coffee, and it is, in fact, delicious. If I had to choose, I think I would say that my favorite is the Alchemy Roast from George Howell, who, by the way, is the creator of the Frappuccino. It has this chocolate almondy flavor, but you know, like a high quality chocolate, you know what I mean. It's really good. All you have to do is go to cometeer.com/companyman to get a free 8-pack of their most popular roasts and a travel mug. They'll be delivered right to your door on dry ice, and you can just keep them in the freezer until you're ready to make a cup. I recommend it to anyone who values flavorful, quality coffee. The link is in the description. Thank you for watching.